Hey guys, it's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to show you how to do my galactic eyes, my glittery lips, my wonderful contour. So stick around, stay tuned, and I'll see y'all soon. So starting off, I'm using the Hard Candy Smoothing Primer Balm with a dense packing brush and using that on the outer portions of my face to make sure my makeup lays smooth and flat. And then going in with the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Blurring Stick on my T-zone, which is my nose, my forehead, and under eyes, to make sure my pores are minimized and oil levels are under control. With my foundation, I am going in with the Rimmel Lasting Foundation and the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation on the upper half of my head first to make sure when I do my eyeshadows, any fallout will not mix into the foundation below. And using the Physicians Formula Spotlight Primer with the e.l.f. foundation to make sure I have a seamless and flawless radiant blend. Using the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer in the shade Fair Beige along with a buffing brush from the center of my forehead and blurring it from the center out, making sure the focus is on the center of the forehead first. And then using the e.l.f. Matte Camo Concealer in Fair Rose with a concealer brush, I am carving out the underside of my eyebrows where the highlight would be and making sure to give my brows a general shape and rough draft before filling them in. And I do apologize for the mirror being in front of the face. This was the first time I was able to record in a year, therefore I'm a little rusty at this. Once I got that, I used my Maybelline Tattoo Studio Brow Gel in the shade Ash Brown with a flat angle brush to carve out a rough draft of the brows. This is just to give a general shape before cleaning them up later. This brow gel is one of the most amazing brow products I have used yet. It is waterproof to where you could splash your face with water and she will not be moving. And then just using the concealer brush underneath to clean up the edges and cleaning out the tails with my fingers with a bit of the foundation. And then adding a little in the center before buffing out the center to give those brows a good ombre. But I set the undersides of my brows with the Rimmel eyeshadow single in the shade Q Jump, which is just a white shade to highlight the undersides of my brows. I don't know why, but ever since I started doing this technique, I've been upgrading my brow game like crazy. And then using an angle brush that I botched up into an angle, along with the Maybelline eyeshadow single made from Mocha, I'm setting the brows with a good deep brown that matched more towards my hair color. And then just feathering out the front ends of the brows before buffing it out again to make sure that they are feathered and ombreed. A little swipey, swipey, swipey. And then making sure they're pretty even. I want them to be at least relatable sisters. And I'd have to say they came out pretty good. Setting my face with the Airspun Translucent Extra Coverage and the Hard Candy Blurring Pore Refining Powder mixed together, I am setting the upper half of the face and getting ready for eyeshadows. This color or powder combination is amazing to make sure your skin is completely mattified and smooth. Once that's done, I am going in with my Wet n Wild Punkster eyeshadow and my NYX Ultimate Palette eyeshadow for the Purple Galaxy. To start off, my primer is going to be the Makeup Obsession Mega Concealer in the shade 1, which is a pure white. White bases are perfect for those to use color with. Makes them pop really, really beautifully. And then using a little bit of Scotch tape to get that perfect angular look. And I'm first going to use a a big old fluffy brush with the purple and hot pink colors from the Ultimate palette and using that as a rough draft of my blown out crease. And already you can see that the white concealer has made the colors pop out really beautifully. And then going in with a denser brush along with the Wet n Wild Jungle Rock Collection palette. With the Jungle Rock Collection palette along with the shade Feline Myself and Alpha, I'm using that to darken and define that crease And then using a little bit of that purple from the Punkster palette, I am blowing out that crease and blending out the colors together to get that perfectly look. Using a concealer brush from Hard Wet n Wild and the same concealer, I'm just carving out the crease to give it that perfectly cut edge. And then going in with one of my recently favorite shadows from Amori, I believe that's what it's called, Amori Pearl Eyeshadows, this turquoise blue. I'm just packing that on the lid as my main color. It's just such a beautiful pearl finish. But we're going to add more sparkle to the lid to make that a very defiant feature. And then just blending out the corners before going back in. And then using the Milani lid topper and Lupa Beluza, which is a beautiful shimmer blue, just adding that on top of the lid to give it that perfect little flare, and then packing down that pearl just to set it in place. Packy, packy, packy. And then just using a blank brush to clean up the under edges. Now for liner, I've been using the e.l.f. liquid liner in Jet Black. Ever since I saw Ariel Versace using this, I wanted to try it myself, and I have to say I'm not disappointed in it. I used to use the a Wet n Wild eyeliner just to black out the lid, and then using a black eyeshadow called Black Fender from Rimmel and an angle brush, I'm just setting that eyeliner in place so it doesn't smudge or crease. And then just like that, bam! One eye finished and one to go. I'll take this time to discuss some of my favorite products that I've used today. This concealer is one of the best eyeshadow bases I've used. Because of how purely white it is, it really makes any colored eyeshadows pop. And then these Wet n Wild palettes, even though the glitter in them are a little on the cheaper side, I will admit that the shadows themselves have a better payoff. So I'm not disappointed in the colors at all. And then using the Rock Collection palette with that purple, it just deepened that crease perfectly to the color spectrum that I was hoping for. Now with this Amori eyeshadows that I got, it came with a pack of 3 regular shadows, and then it came with these pearl eyeshadow finishes, which have such a good variety of colors to play with to put on the lid. The liner, I'm amazed at how good of a coverage it gets compared to other ones. It doesn't snag, it just glides on perfectly. And then once you set it with a black shadow, she stays on all day long. Just blend in, blend in, blend in. It's all about the blending. And the lid toppers, I admit, when I used a while back, I was a little skeptic at first, but after giving it a few more tries, I'm thoroughly impressed with how well they show and how well they stay on the lid and not creasing throughout the day. Now with liner, I would have to say is probably one of the toughest parts of makeup. It's like open heart surgery. You either make it or you break it. And then just setting that with the black shadow once again, making sure that it's all set properly, and then finally, after the big reveal, oh, that's it? Not yet. Little finishing touches, fan it, and then bam! So now that the eyes are finished, I use a little bit of highlighter on the brow bone. This is Revolution Cosmetics Strobing Highlighter in the shade Lunar. I swear this highlighter is almost like painting glass on your skin. It is so vibrant and so pigmented that it leaves your skin looking like it's constantly wet. And now going into the under portions of the face, I'm using the same foundations. Both the Rimmel Lasting Foundation in the shade 101 Classic Ivory, and then the e.l.f. Foundation in the shade 130 Snow. And the reason why I mix and match these foundations, I love the viscosity level that the Rimmel foundation has. It works as a good base. And then trying out the e.l.f. foundation, which is oil-free, It does help for those that have oily skin because it will not give such a shine. And then using the strobing primer on top just to give it a little bit of a radiancy. I know I'm counteracting that, but this is just what's been working for me thus far. And the Hydro Concealer for $6 for both either the matte or the hydrating concealer for a full coverage, it's beautiful. After using the same packing brush, I use a beauty blender just to make sure that it's blended out properly and thoroughly, giving it that perfect airbrush effect each and every time. And it's all about the blending, so this might be the boring part where it's just blending, blending, blending. And then using a little bit of white on the inner corners just to brighten up that spot. Ever since I saw Gigi Goode do this on her makeup tutorial from Drag Race Season 12, I've been obsessed with trying this technique, and I have to say, it really does work. It makes the focus on the center of the face. Going in with my Tarte Pro Glow Palette, I'm using the cream contour cream contour shade Sculpt and carving out the sides of my nose to get that skinny plastic surgery look, along with one of those toothbrush styled side brushes and my contour brush from who knows where. You can find these in almost every brand. More blending, more blending. I always love having my nose pinched like I just got done with surgery. Best thing. And then going in with my Rimmel foundation underneath my jawline and blending it down my neck towards my clavicles, just so that way it's all blended down. And then taking my powder combo and powdering down the rest of my face. Powder, 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 powder everywhere. Boy, she's really packing on that powder, ain't she? But yes, this powder made my pores disappear and practically look like I was a porcelain doll. And now we are going in with my powder contour and highlights. I'm using the Revlon Color Stay in the shade Translucent on the center of my nose to really brighten up that bridge. And on each side I'm using the L'Oreal True Match Powder and C9 Deep Cool with a skinny brush to get that definition first before going in with the Hard Candy Just Glow Matte Bronzer and Maui Matte with a fluffier brush and buffing out that harsh edge. And then going in with my CoverGirl Clean Pressed Powder in the shade Ivory with a powder puff. I'm getting on the sides of my nose and under eyes to brighten up. And it really does help that definition of the sides of the nose very thoroughly. Along with the center of the forehead. And just a little bit of finishing touches here and there. And now going in with my two favorite brushes for contouring my cheeks. I use a more densely packing brush to do the chiseling of the hollows of my cheekbones with the same L'Oreal. And then I buff out the upper parts using the same Hard Candy with a buffer brush, and then just making sure I blur out that line thoroughly before moving on to the next. You want to use circular motions and packing motions and less dragging motions before you wipe everything off. Second verse, same as the first. And this really does help define my cheekbones to really have that doll-like appearance. Buffety, buffety, buffety. And then going on the undersides, I'm using the e.l.f. Sheer Tint Foundation in the shade Fair with a flat edge beauty blender and just cutting the undersides of my cheeks to get that that chiseled line. But once it's all blended out, it works out beautifully. And then just carving out my jawline to make it a little more sleek and feminized. Going in with the Hard Candy Silk Blush and Gush Blush, I'm just packing on a little bit of a pinky blush just to start off with before we do our baking process. A little bit on the nose just to look blushy, and then blending everything out. And then going in with my Wet n Wild translucent powder, just a generic translucent powder with another, goodness me, Another powder puff, I am highlighting under my cheekbones, on sides of my nose, on my cheeks, along with the center of my forehead and bridge of my nose, just to get those highlights to pop. And then using the Broadway cheek palette with another fluffy brush, I'm just brushing away some of the powder on my cheeks so that way it's more of a seamless transition from highlight, blush, and contour. Same thing on the forehead and the undersides of my jaw and neck. And then taking my blush brush, I'm just buffing off the rest of it and blending everything together so it's all perfectly seamless. Next, I'm going in with my favorite 3 highlighting brushes and my favorite highlighters, going in with the Hard Candy Just Glow A Touch of Moonlight, which is Silver Pearl Iridescence as a start with the densest brush. Then with the second dense brush, I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Lilac to Reality. This is one of the most amazing silverly lilac colors. It's just so out of this world, which is perfect for this look. And then finally, Revolution Cosmetics Strobe Highlighter in Lunar as the top of the frosting of the cake. And then with my NYX Jumbo Eye Crayon in the shade Milk, I am opening up my waterlines with white. This I've been doing for a while now, and I love how it gives like that doll-like appearance. I think this is one of the most amazing eye pencils yet. And then just going back with both the NYX and Wet n Wild Punkster palettes, I'm just going to start doing my under eye shadows using a dense fluffy brush as a start, and then buffing out that with a fluffier brush with a bit of a hot pink tone. Of course, I can't find anything on my makeup station even if I tried. And then just buffing it out. Buffing and buffing and buffing some more. Eyeshadow is a lot of blending. Blending, blend, 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 blend. So much blending. So much blending! And then going in with my L'Oreal Voluminous Liner in Noir, I am just sharpening up the edges of my liner, especially with all the powders that have been going on it, and just redefining the edges a little bit. And then going in with my Wet n Wild Fantasy Makers Glitter Liner. These ones actually don't have names, but this is the purple one. It's like purple iridescent liners. Making sure things are all in place. You always want to check just before moving on to the next step. And then using the same highlighter of Revolution Cosmetics on my inner corners to give that galactic glow and the bridge of my nose. And then redefining my brows with the Made from Mocha shadows. Just darkening the brows and defining them out just a little more. And then lately I've been getting into drawing on the individual hairs, and I will show you what product I'm using. Just buffing them out. And then using the Rimmel eyebrow marker in the shade Deep Brown, dropping everything, and just drawing little light flicks and drawing individual hair strokes. And this gives your brows a more realistic look. Come on, realness? Yes. And then for lips, I am going in with the Rimmel Kate lipstick in the shade Clear just to work as a lip base. And then I decided to buff out my jawline just a little bit more. You know, me. And at first I tried using this Revlon lip liner, but it broke and I said nope. So then I went with my Wet n Wild gel liner in the shade Plum Together, and just sketching out my lip shape. And I overdraw my lips just a little bit to give that full pouty look. And then using a lip brush to blend out the color, and then using a flat angle brush with a my face powder to clean up the edges just a little bit. And I always love having a really defined Cupid's bow with a full lip. This almost probably takes the longest on my makeup because I try getting them to look as even as possible, even though they never do. but I get them as close enough to where I'm happy. And then using my Wet n Wild catsuit, liquid catsuit in Deviant Damsel, which is from the Rebel Rose collection. It's a beautiful dark purple poison plum look. And just pushing out the lips just a little bit more. This lip brush is my everything for when I do my lips. Yeah, took a look and I saw I wasn't as even, then I get them close enough. Feather, feather, feather. And then using my Maybelline Total Temptation Mascara in Very Black, I'm just coating my lashes as a base before putting on my falsies, which I will let them dry. This mascara is a more wet formula. And then using my Revlon Colorstay Ultimate Lip Stay in the shade Vigorous Violet, I'm just top coating the lipstick. And now for the fun part. I'm going in with my custom lashes of 2 little black dresses and 2 Ardell mink lashes, along with the Kiss brush-on adhesive, and let them dry for at least a good 30 seconds. I also use my finger to tap on the lash band to soak up a little bit of the glue. And then once they are tacky enough, prop them on. I'd usually get mine from the center first and then worry about the edges fading out first. But once you get them on in position just right, you want to make sure you push them up so that way they're not droopy. Nobody wants a droopy lash. No droopies. And then fan them up, make sure the glue stays, and then fan, fan, fan. And then using my CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume Mascara in black and just coating them one final time to blend them together. And then as a final step for this, I'm using my Hard Candy Showgirl Loose Glitter in the shade Broadway and just powdering my lips. And then finally, this is the look. I hope you guys enjoy. Love y'all, and see you next time.